What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. And do we have a great show lined up for you today? The answer to that question is yes, we do. Now, some people aren't going to like it. Some people aren't Cardano fans. It's okay. Guess what? You can watch the entire show anyway, because we're still going to talk about Bitcoin. We're still going to talk about Jerome Powell and everything he's doing. But the big news of the day, the things that we want to talk about, Cardano is entering a new era. Is that going to have an effect on price, or will it be another nothing burger? Cardano has continued to disappoint people day in and day out. Is those who have been waiting, have been patient for a long time, are they going to be vindicated, or are they waiting for nothing? I think you already have your own opinion. Get ready for what we say on the show today. Also, a special segment at the end of the show, we have to talk about, there's a good reason for this, so you got to stick with us. We're going to talk about all of the greatest and most famous Warrens and why Warrens are the best. You don't want to go anywhere. Smash the like, hit subscribe. T-Shroom, roll the intro. What it do, T-Shroom? How you doing today, my friend?
I'm feeling better than I deserve, especially now that I'm on the other side of that intro.
Yeah, it's a good one. Now, have you been busy today? Have you just been like sitting back, doing nothing? How's your day gone so far?
Tim, I have been physically doing not much, but intellectually a lot.
You were in a 4-hour stream earlier today, weren't you?
We had I think we made it to 4 hours of deep takes today, and this is something that is on Discord, available for Brolux members who are just interested in talking about everything that we don't talk about on the show. There's a lot of stuff in crypto, in the economy, in society and culture that we just don't have time to talk about in 1 hour. And so we talk about it there in deep takes, and that's what I did all day.
I heard that that it got into the realm of space travel.
That's right.
And for anyone who doesn't know T-Shroom, there's a lot of things in this life that he can just go right through. He doesn't mean anything to him. He's just going to just run off his back like water. If you get this man talking about space travel, you have locked yourself into a very long and engaging conversation. In fact, even though he's newly married, with the exception of his relationship with Jesus and his wife, I don't know if there's anything in this world more important to this man than space travel. He is the next Elon Musk, and he was the top. You were top of your class in macroeconomics, which is the number one indicator of somebody who knows about space. Would you agree?
Well, see that being top of your class, it's both a blessing and a curse, because now I have to live up to that, and I probably will be the next Elon Musk, just being honest. But it's still a lot of responsibility to carry on my shoulders.
Yeah,
but I won't forget you, Tim. I will not forget you.
Crypto Sec Guy with the super chat early on saying Taylor Warren is the most famous of the current generation of Warrens. I'll take it. I mean, I'm married to her, so I'll take that as a win for the family. Thank you for that $5, Crypto Sec Guy. T-Shroom, let's get into some crypto conversations here. Before we talk about Bitcoin and talk about Cardano and some other good stuff here, we got a sea of green today. We love these types of days, and it's actually really important because we're going to get into the Jerome Powell conversation. What did he say? What's important? What's the outcome? I'm a little surprised price is up after he spoke. We'll tell you guys why. But Tia, top mover of the day. Well, Tia actually not. Say's the top mover, but they're kind of tied. Tia and Say both up 18%. Say's a little closer, maybe to 19%. You also have some bigger movers. Oh, he's not covering it there today. Sui is up 8. Jupiter's up 10. Brett is up 8. Bonk is up 9. Who else has some big days? VeChain, 10%. Tau, 11%. Ron, 9%. You have some sprinkles in of other good ones like Injective and Safe and what is that one? XTZ? Tezos? Okay, Tezos. I don't invest in Tezos. But overwhelmingly, though, a positive day here for the crypto markets. Let's go ahead and jump on in, T-Shroom, into the Bitcoin TA. Now, this is something we were addressing a little bit earlier in our VIP trading group, but I want to come out all the way down to the 1 hour chart. I'm going to redraw for you guys, but currently, Bitcoin is still, even though it's kind of showed, especially in the last like 30 minutes, some potential of a breakout to the upside, Bitcoin is currently in a symmetrical triangle pattern on lower time frames. I'm on the 1 hour chart right now. And what that means is that if you go back to July 4th, the Independence Day here in America, roughly around like 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we kind of bounced up, hit a level of resistance. And since that time, Bitcoin has been in a higher low but lower high predicament, which is what we call a symmetrical triangle pattern. Lower highs, higher lows. This has the potential of breaking to the upside or the downside with the opening of the formation. So if we get a bullish breakout here, we could see a bullish target up above 63,000, about 600 give or take. Let's clone this, though, and let's say if this goes to the downside, let's just pretend we break out somewhere down here. It would give us a breakout down to a zone we have talked about in depth on the channel, and that would be down towards $50,000. Which one, chat? I want you guys to go ahead in chat. Tell me what you think is going to happen. Are we breaking to the upside? Are we breaking the downside? If you go back here to my screen, though, T-Shroom, the thought, though, that you need to be aware of, there are arguments as to why we should be breaking to the downside, but I'm open to the possibility of going to the upside. What does that mean? Well, first of all, symmetrical triangle patterns. What you are looking for as the more probable outcome for the breakout is which direction did the market come into this formation. In this case, the formation was bearish. We fell down into the symmetrical triangle pattern. So more often than not, you can put this as probably about a 70% chance 70% of the time that we have a symmetrical triangle pattern that forms after falling in price action, it usually breaks to the downside again, 70% of the time. That means 30% of the time it breaks to the upside. So now that we just have a formation, let's start to look and say, hey, what is the confluence saying of what is the most likely outcome for Bitcoin to go to? Let's start to pull up even on the hourly chart what we have going on here. Everything is so tight on the hourly chart. You have a lot of support below us, but you also have a lot of significant resistance and a take profit level up here back towards 58,800. You just go ahead and call it closer to 59, back where we opened up this symmetrical triangle pattern. But going to the outside, we got to come all the way out to the 4-hour chart. What are we looking at now? You guys are going to see, again, some significant resistance sitting up here at 60,000. We talked about this the other day. As a whole, what I'm looking at is saying the chances of making it to 63 on the 4-hour chart look less likely than a move even further down to 50,000. If you keep going out to the daily chart, you guys are going to see here, once again, significant resistance around 60,000 with a bearish breaker block in play, significant support and buying pressure coming in at 50,000. So I don't want to necessarily say I'm predicting for 100% certainty we're going down, but starting on the smaller time frames and working our way out, I'm seeing that there is two different possibilities, but formation alone, the probability says we should go to the downside. From the chart perspective, the indicators perspective, we're saying we probably should go to the downside. Another thing you might want to take a look at on these smaller time frames is what are the oscillators saying? Are the oscillators showing us more of a strength or more of a weakness at the moment? Now, we'll say the 4-hour chart's RSI has actually done something very significant by getting above the 50. That's actually a very bullish thing. When it comes to the rest of the oscillators, though, we're kind of seeing some mixed bags. Stochastics is showing we're maybe a little overextended. MACD, it's actually going bullish here. So we'll give the MACD to the bulls here. And then we'll give this one, the Luxago indicator, kind of to a more neutral. Who knows what's happening? It could continue to go to the upside, but there's only so much left before we become a little overextended. On the hourly chart, however, you're going to see a lot more maybe overbought flashes kind of coming in here. You're definitely going to start to see RSI say we should reverse. The MACD has started to kind of trade sideways and looks like it wants to more go bearish. And then the Luxago oscillator, kind of still in a middle zone, but the money flow just isn't there. The money flow is negative, despite the fact that price is climbing. That's not because there's a lot of extra money flowing in here on the hourly chart. So it is a mixed bag. What do we do with a mixed bag that says there's no guarantees one or the other is going to happen? Some people are going to hate this answer, but I'm telling you, you've got to learn. If you want to make money in this game, if you want to invest the best ways possible, buying at the best prices possible, not perfect, but best, you learn to see these situations and say, you know what? I'm going to sit on the sideline and I'm going to wait for something significantly to happen. Let me tell you another thing. We're about to get into some stories as to why Bitcoin price could be falling to the downside. But go back to my chart one more time. I want to start off, T-Shroom. I know we got to talk about Germany. It seems like we're always talking about Germany, but Germany's like the main bearish pressure right now on Bitcoin. I want to start off with Jerome Powell. But before I start off with Jerome Powell, I'm going to give you a little spoiler. What Jerome Powell said was not overly and overtly bearish, but it should be more bearish than it's been in the price action since he's talked. It's been bullish. Going back to my screen here, T-Stream. You can go and just leave it on here until I finish this point. We've been bullish ever since he spoke, despite the fact that what he said, when you think about the long-term perspective, is actually something that isn't necessarily a positive for Bitcoin's price. What this possibly could be leading to, and I showed you guys there's some resistance right above us here at the 1 hour chart. I would say if we can break above the recent high back on July 4th around 5 p.m., if we get up here above $59,000, I think there's a decent chance the bulls, especially if volume starts to come in to confirm, there's a decent chance for the bulls to make that move and maybe make a run back up at least to 60,000, but potentially be a bullish breakout of the symmetrical triangle pattern and head back up closer to 64,000. However, as long as we stay beneath this level right here around 58,800, even if the price action comes up to it, it's actually very common with these formations. They know that retail investors love formations in the crypto trading game. It's not abnormal for price to fake out to one direction and then come back to the downside and play out the opposite scenario. This is why I'm telling you guys to sit and wait, because I bet you there's a lot of retail investors who are watching this formation. I'm not the only person talking about it. I'm not the only person who identified a symmetrical triangle pattern. What they're going to do, though, a lot of retail investors, is they're going to look at a candle like this white one right here. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. They're going to look at that breakout and they're going to say, oh, there we go. We broke above the level of resistance. Let's get a buy order in here. Long position, boom. Let's buy right here. We're going to take our profit all the way up here at the breakout situation up at 63,000. Let's put our stop loss right in here, back down to support level. Boom, there we go. And this is the perfect scenario for the long-term whales and institutional traders and investors to fake you out into thinking this is the greatest buy. You timed it perfectly. And then in reality, the price ends up going to the downside, liquidating your position and heading down to the original bearish call. I'm not going to say that with 100% certainty. I cannot predict that perfectly. But I have seen in the history of Bitcoin, in the history of cryptocurrency, fake outs when it comes to breakouts of these triangle formations is very, very common. So I urge you guys to be careful and cautious when looking for your next entry, because a breakout to the upside is possible, but based off the recent news that we have gotten, and I dare say short time frame, but some recent positivity of the bull market, there's a chance that we do have one more good leg left in the dip. We need to get to a place where a lot of crypto investors are almost in a state of despair, thinking any pump that comes from here on out is just another fake out. And when you do feel like pumps are fake outs, that's the moment that Bitcoin will take off like a rocket ship up into space, into the moon. So I want to make sure I caution you guys. Bitcoin price is going up, yes, but the news, and we're about to get into that news, actually suggests that price probably could go a little further to the downside. T-Shirt, let's start off with the comments of Jerome Powell. What did he say exactly? What are some of the comments he made that people need to hear to know what to do with crypto investing?
For sure. Well, there he is. He's the chairman of the FOMC. The headline on CNBC reads, Fed Chair Powell says holding rates high for too long could jeopardize economic growth. So that would be among the dovish comments that he made. But it really the rubber hits the road here with this quotation. After a lack of progress towards our 2% inflation objective in the early part of this year, the most recent monthly readings have shown modest further progress. More good data would strengthen our confidence that inflation is moving sustainably towards 2%. Tim, the FOMC needs to see more progress. So far, that progress has only been characterized as modest by the chairman of the FOMC. So as a result, what does this mean? Breaking it down, higher for longer, higher rates for longer, and that just means bearish, right? That's less favorable for risk assets as that constricts the liquidity in the market. Now, we're comforted by the headline here that CNBC chose to write, which is much more dovish, saying that having the rates too high for too long could jeopardize economic growth. But of course, the dual mandate that Jerome Powell has as chairman of the Federal Reserve is not economic growth, right? It's to keep inflation at the targeted 2% and to keep jobs at the required rate as well. Has nothing to do with economic, well, has something to do with economic growth, but those are a dual mandate. Economic growth is not one of them. That's the economy's job.
Yeah. And I think the way people should think about this, because yes, there were some comments that were potentially bullish, but right now we've already heard from Jerome Powell that the expectation is that the Fed is probably going to make one rate cut this year. Nothing he said today made it seem like they're thinking about more than that. Even the comment where he said, I don't want to keep it necessarily too high because that could be detrimental for the economy. Even that, he is saying, all right, we're going to probably still have one rate cut, but ultimately, I'm not convinced by the inflation numbers that we currently are looking at that inflation is thoroughly under control. Now, if you go to my screen here, T-Shirt, what you guys need to look forward to, tomorrow he will speak again to the Senate at 10 a.m. once again. So those you who have time and ability to watch it, go ahead and watch it. If you can't watch it, we'll talk about it on our show tomorrow at 3 p.m. But the inflation numbers, he'll have all these comments and he doesn't know. I mean, I don't know when he gets, I'm assuming he gets the numbers before we do. And of course, we get them at 2 p.m. I think he has to be the one to put them out. But there's a good chance that he doesn't necessarily know yet what Thursday's numbers are going to tell us, because Thursday morning, we will have a live show on Thursday at 9 a.m. because inflation numbers and CPI data will be coming out. And he's kind of said here, if we don't think that we like where inflation is going to be, and right now the expectations is it's pretty much going to be exactly where we were last month. Inflation rate year over year might be a little bit lower, but unless we see a dramatic pause here, like I would say we probably want to see this number at 3%. We probably want to see core inflation closer to 3%, maybe 3.1, 3.2 would be good. We probably even want to see month over month or an inflation rate month over month. We probably want to see that even be a little lower than expectation. The point is, if these numbers are not favorable, what he is saying is I really don't feel comfortable, and you can go off my screen now, T-Shirt. I don't feel comfortable cutting rates knowing that inflation has not been tamed. Now, I'll say this, T-Shirt. I'm proud of him, and I think he's actually making the right call. He's a grown man. I don't know if he needs me to be proud of him or not. It's not like I'm his baseball coach and he just hit a triple into right field. But the point is that I'm proud that he is sticking to his guns and saying, you know what? I'm getting a lot of pressure from both the left and the right equally telling me I need to cut rates. But I honestly think what's best for the American citizens and the US dollar is to keep interest rate high. I'm glad about that. Where was this Jerome Powell, though, back in February of 2022? T-Stream, do you remember covering that with me? Actually, we were a part of Coffee and Crypto at the time, running the Coffee and Crypto show. We talked heavily about this. Everyone and their brother and their mother and their mother's dog knew that inflation post-COVID was going to be a major problem. And yet, where he could have started raising interest rates to get ahead of it back in February of 2022, he came out on stage and pretty much said, I don't know why people are freaking out. Inflation's under control. All of our economic data is sitting here perfectly. We're fine. We don't want to raise interest rates too fast and curve this booming economy. Again, everybody and their brother and their mother and their mother's dog knew that that was a bunch of baloney and it was a massive mistake. And what we ended up seeing over the rest of 2022 was Jerome Powell saying, yeah, I messed up. Should have raised rates a lot sooner. We're in a bigger pickle than I thought we were. This is going to be a problem, right? So I'm very glad now he's sticking to his guns, but you can't help but think, T-Shroom, if he had just been a little more hawkish earlier in 2022, if he had understood what the rest of America understood, is that when you print trillions of dollars into the space and you inflate the dollar, when you inflate the dollar, the inflation rate will go up. You don't need to be top of your class, T-Shroom, to understand that detail. Bruh. That's what everybody else understood. Why couldn't Jerome Powell understand it? And if he had just started cutting or raising rates sooner, we might have found ourselves this very month getting ourselves maybe the second or third rate cut of the year. I know we can't go back and look at the past. Again, you don't justify a wrong by doing another wrong. So I'm glad that he's keeping rates high for now, because I do think it's something that is long-term going to be more beneficial than if he starts cutting them. I just can't help but look back and say, what if? Do you agree with that, T-Shroom?
Yeah, absolutely. He was late in 22, and he's not going to let that happen again. right? He's gonna take the more conservative, the more hawkish route here. He's gonna say, the economy. He was willing to go into a recession, right? Willing to induce a recession. That's what these policies do. They disincentivize economic growth. But so I completely agree. Yeah, we're on the same page.
Paul
would love to hear from people who do disagree.
We have some comments here. Paul Bruner said hindsight is 2020.
Nice.
That was good. That was very good. Yeah, that's the wrong one. You were looking for the drum set, weren't you?
Nope.
No,
we're having fun.
Okay, we're having fun. CryptoSec guy said, wasn't that around the same time the current White House administration redefined what a recession was? It was the time. Those of you who weren't around and didn't know, we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP, which, again, just Google it. Everyone, if you have the ability to Google without turning the show off, go type into your computer right now, what is the definition of a recession? In fact, I'm going to do it. What is the definition? I'm not the greatest typer of a recession.
Tim. A widespread and prolonged downturn in economic activity.
No, that's not it. That's go to my screen. We're gonna go Google. I told people to Google this, and you might have gotten there faster, Mr. Hare, but I'm the turtle, and I won the race. This is the dictionary definition of a recession that any American or non-American could go ahead and just Google and look it up. A period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activities are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP in 2 successive quarters. Mm-hmm. That's a more complicated way of saying 2 quarters of negative GDP equals a recession. That's exactly what we got in 2022. And yes, CryptoSec guy, the current White House administration did say, no, that's not a recession. And it's like, okay, all right. So we're redefining it. When you get to make up the rules of the game, it's impossible to lose, T-Shroom.
Mm-hmm. So what I'll say is traditionally GDP is the metric, and if you get 2 quarters of negative GDP, that's a recession. What was different about this last recession was that unemployment rate did not move above the 5% target rate. So that's their claim. But the unemployment rate is important, but it's not GDP. GDP is the variable. It is the metric. This is an issue from 2022. So let's keep moving.
I don't know. I'm sure someone's going to go into the deep details, but I think it's not crazy to know in the last 2 and some change of years, so 2.5 years, the job numbers and far as part-time work has skyrocketed. If the metric for being successful as a leader in the United States is increasing part-time workers, good job, current administration. You have nailed it. But I would imagine traditionally when people think of, is your economy doing well based off jobs, we would be talking about full-time jobs. No, Gerbs. I think we are. I think those numbers have decreased dramatically, Mr. I don't want to say any names, Mr. Leader of the United States. I could be wrong there. I don't look up statistics. I just am observing with my eyeballs how the world is operating and watching people around me struggle. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. That was kind of a little bit of a little bit of rabbit trail. There's another big story that has suppression of Bitcoin price, and it's been plaguing us for the last month, but there is an important detail people need to know. You probably are tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing about it, but it is something we need to make sure we understand, and that is coming from the good old country of Deutschland. Yep. T-Shroom, what's happening?
Yeah, this is live coverage of the decision makers for the Bitcoin wallet.
I would be doing that too. I would be doing that too, yeah. Oh, and I don't drink, so,
Yeah. So this one is from July 9th. That's today, 5 a.m. So 5 a.m. essentially, the more selling, more movement to exchange of Bitcoin from the German government. German government selling up to 6,306 Bitcoin, equaling just over $350 million. In the past 3 hours, the German government has sent that amount to Kraken, Cumberland, and 139PO, likely an institutional or OTC service, and a different address. Of this, 3,206 Bitcoin, just under 200 million, has been sent within the past 20 minutes as of writing this tweet from Arkham Intelligence. Since yesterday's movement, the German government received 5,366 Bitcoin back from exchanges, including Kraken, Bitstamp, and Coinbase. The German government currently holds 22,847. So this is the important number right here. And I've pulled up the Arkham. It's a $1.32 billion worth of Bitcoin the German government still has control of, have not sold yet, right? And I have pulled up here, you can see since the 10th of June, now this is the month of June here, you can see that they had been going down, and then it went down quite a bit, right? So that's the balance history. So this is in dollars, right? So some of this is just the devaluation of Bitcoin to the dollar, right? But then obviously this is the sloughing off, and you can get access to this at platform.arkhamintelligence.com/explore/entity/Germany.
You know, kind of wrapping up, we're probably going to talk about more Germany stuff. Ultimately, I want to make sure you guys understand, walking away from this today, how you should treat this. We have heard rumors that it's because Germany doesn't want to print more money and cause more inflation. They're printing Bitcoin to pay some of their bills. We have heard, I saw an interesting thought that it's Germany testing the Bitcoin markets before they go really big on Bitcoin and put, multiple billions of dollars into the hard asset. They want to test how the markets are able to absorb all of the new supply. Oh, you know what it is? It's a bunch of baloney. It's all a bunch of baloney. Germany, I'm not saying it's a fake news that they're selling, but I am telling you, I don't know who is pulling the strings. I don't know what puppet masters' names are, but I know that this is another good old-fashioned manipulation brought to you by the Composite Man. Shout out to the old man. Have not talked about him in a while. I used to talk about him all the time. Guys, there's a theory in investing, not just crypto investing, but a theory that has been around for over 100 years, brought to you by the mind of Richard Wyckoff.
That's right.
Go Google him. But he has a theory. He calls it the Composite Man. He says you as the average trader need to imagine you are trading against a grouping of people, but it's one entity called the Composite Man. And what that Composite Man is doing is they are constantly telling you to buy when it's actually time to sell, and they're telling you to sell when it's actually time to buy. And they have enough power and control to manipulate markets to convince you of the exact opposite thing that's about to happen. And ultimately, that is the story of manipulation. Is Germany selling? Yes, they are selling. But is that the reason why you should be selling? Absolutely not. They're bringing price back down. They're bringing the boat back for their friends, for the institutions, for the long-term holders who know the game to buy Bitcoin on the dip before the train takes off to the station. That station is on the moon. How the tracks got there, it's not really mathematically or physically possible, but that's what's happening in the world of crypto. Germany is just playing their part of the grander movement. But you want to know what I think, T-Shroom, is the biggest mistake that Germany has made in this whole process?
What's that?
They weren't using Houdini Swap to get this whole thing done. They could have saved themselves on so many fees and made this instantaneous and perfect, like on my screen right here. You guys can do this right now. You can check out Houdini Swap. They are a new partner of the channel. I don't know if Germany would use them whatsoever, even if they wanted to, because they're not that smart. But you guys can go use them right now. There's a cool thing that Houdini Swap has done. They just launched V3 that allows you to have a private function here on Houdini Swap, but also exchange any coin for any coin. I don't care what ecosystem, what blockchain, you can exchange any coin for any coin. But the best part about Houdini Swap is that it literally searches the internet for the cheapest possible swap price. And that's the one it selects for you. And that's how it is. That's the reason why it's the best swap out there. And that is the one we absolutely recommend that you guys go start using right now. If you guys are ever moving your portfolio around, maybe you realize, maybe I have a little too much Solana and I want to get a little more AVAX. Or maybe it's like, okay, I need to hold Bitcoin for a long period of time, but now we're heading to altcoin season later in December. So in December, I want to make sure I move some of that Bitcoin back into altcoins. There's no better solution than Houdini Swap. It is the cheapest possible solution. Don't be Germany. Go use Houdini Swap to swap your crypto today. Shout out to Houdini Swap.
Don't be Germany.
Don't be Germany. Listen, the scariest thing about Germany is not that big of a country. I can't remember what comedian said this, but he's like, man, Germany's so crazy. They've literally tried to take over the world twice. And what's crazy is they almost did it. They almost won. Don't be
I thought
Germany.
you were going to say they've only gotten smaller. I think they did. They did get smaller.
I mean, they did get smaller based off of land restrictions, but we're not here to talk about World War II. What
That's
is
not
this,
why
the
I'm
Roman
here,
Empire? We're here now. Listen, a lot of you guys clicked on the video because you saw the title. You saw that great thumbnail, that very sleek black and blue and white thumbnail, talking about a topic that causes a lot of people to have sleepless nights. I'm sure a lot of you guys have found yourself up at 3 o'clock in the morning wondering, is Cardano gonna make it? Is my investment safe or is it terrible? Well, guess what, guys? Cardano just got some phenomenal news with a massive update. We've been looking forward to it. It's not like this surprised anyone or snuck up and it's out of the blue. It's like, oh my gosh, big update. But there is something new. Cardano is entering the Voltaire era. Man, there's a lot of R's
Voltaire.
in that. Voltaire era. Say it 1,000 times fast, and it's going to be awesome. Now, the question, however, we're going to talk about what that looks like, what the hard fork looks like, what it does for Cardano. The big question, though, we're going to talk about, how will this affect Cardano price? Yes, Cardano is down. It's back down below 40 cents after the last couple of months. Cardano's price currently is sitting just south of 38 cents with some resistance sitting right above us. Could this news be the deal that gets Cardano to go up to the upside, or is it a nothing burger, or do we need to be a little patient? Before we answer price questions, T-Shroom, give us a little bit of fundamental updates. What does this mean for anyone who's currently holding Cardano or anyone who in the future is going to be wanting to use Cardano?
Yeah, absolutely. So the headline here on Cointelegraph, which I felt said it pretty well here, Cardano releases Node 9.0, paving the way for upcoming Chang hard fork. Right, and this is what is necessary for the age of Voltaire. Let's get into it here. The Chang hard fork is intended to be the first step in giving Cardano full decentralized governance. That is really the takeaway here. That is what's happening. This is the road to fully decentralized governance. It begins the age of Voltaire on Cardano's roadmap, a period characterized by massive changes to the network's political system, governance. Right. One of the biggest criticisms of Cardano is that it isn't decentralized. First of all, it's very decentralized.
No, but that's a critic. Do you think that's the critic that people give Cardano?
Some people do. Yeah, absolutely. But the reality is
not very informed people.
From the beginning, Cardano was designed to be not as decentralized and then very decentralized. When the Chang hard fork, and now we have it. The governance rules changes. There are 5 roles describing community member participation in governance. I'm just going to read the rules, not the details. Delegate, representative, constitutional committee, delegating ADA holders, and staking pool operators. The governance roles are attained through the defined process outlined below. So this is a very meticulously, you can tell, very meticulously, carefully, even academically approached governance system, and that would make sense for a future of currency. Node 9.0 notes state that it will not yet enable DREP voting in all governance actions, as the full voting protocol will only be provided in version 10.0. Even so, it supports entering the bootstrap phase of CIP 1694 in productive environments. What does this all mean? It means more decentralization. Usually when we hear of updates, it's updates in scalability. Cardano, already very scalable, right? This is making it more decentralized. Other times, the updates are for higher security. This does, in my mind, doesn't buff security as much. This is a decentralization upgrade, and it is specifically enabling the governance system on top of Cardano that involves humans to meet up in, I believe it's Buenos Aires, Argentina, to come to conclusions on the future of Cardano, and they're all democratically elected, through the node system of Cardano. So that's it. In a YouTube video, Hoskinson stated that he expects the hard fork to begin on Monday or Tuesday, indicating that the process will start on July 8th or 9th. So we're here on the 9th.
Which is yesterday or today. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, let me kind of help you and connect some dots, people, because you said earlier. I'll be fun. I'll be honest. I've never heard anyone criticize Cardano for being too centralized. If they have, okay. Again, I don't think that person knows very much whatsoever.
I think the criticism is that IOHK is too central. Too much autonomy over the.
I would still make the argument they clearly have never actually looked at the roadmap that Cardano has, because like I said, this update did not come from nowhere. In fact, we've actually known about this process for over, I don't know exactly how many years. I think definitely since 2021.
I think 10
I
years.
don't know if this is something they put out like back when they first got created. But what I do know is anyone who wants to know what Cardano's trying to accomplish, you would have known about this a long term out. What does this mean, though, however? I want to talk about the criticisms that Cardano does get, and I think have some weight to them that you at least have to say, all right, good argument, let's address it. Number one, that institutions want nothing to do with Cardano. Now, I want to make sure I set the stage here correctly. I agree that right now institutions don't want anything to do with Cardano. I also will tell you that this is the bull market of institutional adoption, right? So I have said, I predicted, and I've been right in my predictions, that Cardano would not be the coin to catch and get the glimmering eye from everybody early on in the bull market. I also predicted that it would fall out of the top 10. Now, we technically did. I think at one point we moved to number 11. Now we're back up at number 10 on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. I don't think it's done. I think Cardano will fall a little bit further. I think it will be jumped by a couple more coins early on in the bull market. Why? Because this is the institutional bull market, meaning a massive amount of the gains will come from institutional dollars, and Cardano's not the coin that catches that eye. All right? I'm going to go ahead and say that argument is not adopted by institutions right now. Good argument. Yet, Cardano will be picked up by institutions. One of the reasons why is because people always forget about this. When you come back to the strength of Cardano, the strength of it is the decentralization, and especially with its roadmap of what it was going to accomplish, namely this era, the Voltaire era, this is going to make it hands down, no debate. I don't care what you think about it personally. You cannot make an argument that there's another coin out there more decentralized than Cardano, because literally right now, while IOHK will stay involved to help, and they'll make suggestions, and they'll be a part of helping build and develop new projects, effectively right now, it is the populace, it is the people, it is the node operators who actually get to vote on everything major that comes out with Cardano, meaning there's not one man or one entity that makes the future decisions. It is solely the community. And that's something that I do believe that has been lost in the cryptocurrency world. If you flash back to 10 years ago, you go back to 2014, the ultimate goal, even before then, the ultimate goal and the super cool thing about cryptocurrency was this idea that money no longer was being determined, the value, by a small or singular entity. It was the concept that the people, the populace, the majority could decide together, and no one person or entity would have too much control. The idea of true decentralization of power, authority, and monetary value was something that everyone raved about and was talked about to be the future of what blockchain would bring to the world. Something went wrong. Within the last 4 years, all of a sudden, blockchain technology, a super cool and revolutionary thing, people have found a way to use centralized cryptocurrency and make really cool companies and assets and functions and NFTs, pretty much cool doodles that you can buy on the internet. And they've forgotten all about the decentralization. People only care about, can I do it fast? Can I do it quick? Can I get it out there now? Or can my coin that I invest in today go up 5x by the end of the month? That's what people started to care about. We lost the fervor and the love for the decentralization. Well, IOHK and Cardano never lost that love. They've continued to fight day in and day out and saying, you know what? While everyone else chases the shiny bow at the moment, the attention at the moment, we understand there's still a high demand and a high reason to look forward to decentralization long term. And that's what we're going to chase after. And that leads me to the second biggest argument that people use against Cardano. They say that it's old tech or that it's losing to newer products. Now, here's what I want you to know. When people compare it to Ethereum, I don't think, at least anytime soon, Cardano is going to pass Ethereum. Even when you take a look at Solana, I don't think Cardano is going to pass Ethereum this bull market, let alone maybe the next one or not. Ethereum and Solana, they do similar things in the sense that they're layer ones and you can build on top of them. But if we're really being honest, they are not the big competitors to Cardano. They are not the ones that Cardano is worried about competing with. Why? Because they're going after completely different things. You can say the word decentralization in the Ethereum ecosystem, but we all know that's a crock. Ethereum is not decentralized. It's more decentralized than the US dollar. If that's our benchmark for what decentralization is, all right, yeah, there's a lot of things that are decentralized if we're using it based off the US dollar. But if we're talking about true decentralization, Ethereum is very much controlled by a minority. Solana is very much, Solana doesn't even try to hide it. It's not even an argument of point of case to try to say Solana is decentralized. It's just centralized. That allows it to move very fast and very efficient and build really fancy and cool little things on it. You get a bunch of meme coins, build a bunch of NFTs. You can do things very quickly on it. That's not what Cardano wants to be. Cardano doesn't want to be the fastest, the cheapest, the easiest. Cardano wants to be the best. Be the best at what, though? Decentralized and secure. They don't want you to worry about losing your money. They don't want you to worry about someone else having control over you. It is chasing the ultimate goal of decentralization. And why here in the United States, that might not mean a lot to people. When you look at some of the countries that Cardano is trying to work with, for example, I say countries, but the continents they're really going after now, starting with Africa from years ago, but more recently, South America, the relationships and the things that Cardano is building to infiltrate and to be an intricate part of those continents and the countries within those continents to bring power back to the people. You and I can sit here and talk about what coin's going to make me the most money. And I am an investor. I want to make money. But I've told you guys for several days now, I've said it for a long time, price is downstream of fundamentals. Say it with me. Price is downstream. Thank you, T-Shirt. Of fundamentals. The fundamentals that Cardano is looking to solve, there's not another project out there that's even remotely close. So is Cardano going to be the top gainer in this bull market? No. Is it going to be a top 5 coin at the end of this bull market? No. Is it going to be the apple of the eye of the institutions in this bull market? No. But when you look at the long-term perspective of what crypto was created to do and what people will ultimately want to get back to, Cardano is the one that I think leads the stage as the coolest innovation. You cannot argue with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an amazing thing. Bitcoin is decentralized. I think it's the future of store of value. But we talk about altcoins. We talk about blockchain technology. We talk about integration into the real world to prioritize decentralization, trustless information, and security. That means nobody will get in and steal or manipulate the details. Name for me another project that can do that better than Cardano. I want you guys to think about it. When it comes to election season, that's a hot topic here in the United States, especially what's coming up. I'm not going to dance around. I don't want YouTube to shut me down because I'm not talking about the U.S. elections right now. When it comes to trusting election season, I don't think there's a single person on this earth that can say that the way we currently do elections is infallible. There's clearly an ability to manipulate. There's clearly an ability to dictate details. That's what makes blockchain technology so cool, is that you have the ability to have trustless information. However, when you look at the likes of Solana, the likes of Ethereum, the likes of several other altcoins, there are problems with it. With that, the amount of pressure and the amount of power that election seasons would have, you don't want to give that to the easiest or the fastest blockchain. You want to give it to the most trusted one, the one that doesn't get hacked, the one that is the most secured, the one that people can trust. When I vote, by the way, guys, I want to have privacy. If I vote on Solana or Ethereum, you guys could get into the blockchain and find out my information. And now all of a sudden there becomes the thought of like, well, we all know who voted for who. I don't like who he voted for. Let's go beat that guy up. Let's go do something to that person. You need to have the decentralization. You need to have the privacy, and you need to have security. Elections need a blockchain like Cardano. And it's going to be tested, I guarantee you, in Africa and South America before it comes to the United States. But watch it be a killer. The other thing, guess what industry is massive but is not going to want to touch cryptocurrency with their filings whatsoever? That is the medical industry. Billions and trillions of dollars worldwide are spent every year in the medical industry. But what does the medical industry prioritize? Privacy. They want to make sure their information is not getting into the wrong hands. That's another one. There's no project out there that can do it in the secure, trustless, guaranteed, and private way that Cardano has. Cardano's not trying to win the race for who can have the most monkey pictures on their blockchain. They're not trying to win the race for who can come up with the most nonsense meme coin in the world that will pump for about a month and a half and then crash back to zero. That's not the race they want to win. So stop comparing them to the blockchains that's their goal. That's just silly. They're actually trying to benefit the world from the inside out and build the infrastructure that brings freedom to the people of this planet. Price is downstream of fundamentals. If you believe that those are essential details that the world needs, you cannot, in your good faith or right mind, say that Cardano is a dead project. Cardano is leading the industry in innovation for bringing decentralization and security, and it's going to pay off. The question is when, not if. And as we deal with that when, it brings us back to that first question. This news right now, I've seen articles saying, oh no, look at this new the hard fork of Cardano is going to boom in price. Let me spoil some stuff for you guys. No. When it comes to the next day, the next couple of weeks, I'm not saying Cardano price can't go up. What I'm saying is this news is not going to affect short-term Cardano price. Why? Because we knew it was going to happen. This didn't surprise anybody. This didn't come up out of nowhere. Some of you might have been hearing it for the first time, but mostly we all knew this was happening. This is just like the halving event for Bitcoin or the looking forward to interest rate cuts or whatever. We have to wait for things to actually play out and to build their significance. Everyone's so bullish about the Bitcoin halving, but we know the Bitcoin halving doesn't spark immediate bullishness. It actually sparks immediate bearishness. But when you stretch it out over the next couple of years, the Bitcoin halving is the most bullish thing that happens on Bitcoin's ecosystem. Well, in the same way, we might not get immediate feedback, immediate bullishness on Cardano because of this update. But when we look at the next couple of years, the next couple of decades, this type of information, this type of update to Cardano is massively bullish. And the good news for anyone who heard what I just said and said, dang, I agree with Tim, don't default to me. Do your own research. Think for yourself. But if you heard what I said and you agree with me that Cardano is needed and has a bright future, now you go back and you look at the chart here, T-Shroom, and you're looking at the zoomed out version and you're saying, oh my gosh, this coin that is going to revolutionize the planet, revolutionize the way we think about security and decentralization is sitting still down from all-time high, 88%, nearly 90%. The bear is going to say dead project. The smart money, the long-term holders, the people who understand future and understand fundamentals, they say it's down 90%. What a steal to buy at 37 cents. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm also going to tell you, if you're looking to just make a fast buck in the next month or the next year, even this bull market, I think there's better investments out there than Cardano. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not paid by Cardano. They don't pay people. I'd love to have a sponsorship with Cardano because I love them that much, but I don't get paid. I'm going to tell you, I don't think Cardano is the number one choice for you to make money in this bull market. If you took a look at my portfolio, it's not my number one holding. It's not my number two holding. I don't even know if it's in the top 10 of my holdings right now. I'd have to go back and look. But when I think about my long-term holdings, the next 10, 15 years, there's only so many coins that I want to even put in that list. And Cardano's squarely up there because there's nothing competing with the long-term fundamentals of Cardano. Now, I'm sure this video is going to get clipped. There's going to be comments in the chat. There's going to be comments afterwards. I'm going to get a lot of love from a certain audience. I'm going to get a lot of hatred. Honestly, and this goes back to our very foundation, and all of the OGs know this. I love all of you guys. I want to help and see every single one of you succeed. But if I took into consideration negative or positive feedback to make me say anything I say on this channel, I would not be who I am. I am going to say what I need to say and what you need to hear, whether or not you want to hear it or not. So do with this information whatever you want. Say about me whatever you want. But I'm telling you, there will be a time when people look back at history, as someone said earlier, hindsight is 20/20, and the community, the grouping of people that will say, do you remember when Cardano was 37 cents back in July of 2024? Gosh, why did we not buy that? Why did we not invest back then? Give it some time. Give it some time, everybody. I'm not saying next month. I'm not saying next year. I'm saying next couple of years. I guarantee you that will be a conversation people will have. With that said, T-Shroom, that's my soapbox rant of the day, brought to you by Houdini Swap. T-Shroom, what are your thoughts?
Tim, that was good. That was powerful. I think a lot of folks, obviously, who are pro, Cardano, they're going to be very happy to hear that. And I am pro Cardano. I have not sold any Cardano. I've only bought it for about 2.5 years now. because I believe in the long-term project. Is it the biggest allocation? Is it the allocation that I think I'm going to make the most money on? No, right? We got 2 super chats. We've got a factoid of the day that I'm really excited about. The factoid elf really hit its stride on today's factoid. And then we have one more question that I think will be very interesting. One tweet from a very wealthy person that we don't hear much from.
Yeah, well, we have to get into our series. I teased at the beginning, guys. We're going to cover all the greatest Warrens in the world.
That's right.
There's a lot of them.
That's right. But let's get to these super chats. Our very own bro, Eric Wallen, donating $5. Thank you, Eric. Said, wouldn't Cardano's $727 million treasury being opened up cause more selling? They are spending ADA.
Correct me if I'm wrong, T-Shroom. Isn't the treasury being opened up to the governance just allow them to vote on what they want to spend that money on? So like what projects and updates and I don't think that that's like, hey, let's just give $727 million away to people and then they can sell it and take it personally. No, it's so that again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's so that the governance, the truly decentralized governing body of Cardano, if you're a node operator, you're one of them, you get to vote rather than Charles Hoskinson and a small group of his team from IOHK making all the decisions about how to spend that treasury and what project to invest in and what to build. Now the governing body, the everyday person that's part of Cardano's team, now they get to make the decision on how to spend that money. Again, truly decentralization. Crypto Set Guy gave another $5 super chat. Lots of $5 super chats. It's the magic number. So we got our one anti-Cardano. We got another positive. Both moderators. Love you guys. We're a very diverse group here. Crypto Set Guy says the people comparing ETH to Solana to ADA, so ETH to Solana to ADA, good point here, distinction, is like comparing Apple to Tesla to Walmart. They all have different business models. And yeah, and that's epitome of what I was saying right there. Just because they're all layer ones in the same way that those 3 companies he just said is they're 3 companies that produce profit and generate revenue, they don't compete with each other in the sense of doing the exact same things. And I cannot agree more. I want to make sure you guys understand the rant that I went on my soapbox. I'm not saying that Ethereum and Solana are going to suck and die and be nothing. I'm invested in both of them. What I'm doing is defending against the argument that because Solana and Ethereum are doing well, all of a sudden Cardano has to die. And again, that would be like saying, well, Walmart and Tesla are doing so well. So yeah, Apple's not going to make it. That doesn't even make any sense. They don't do the same things whatsoever. They actually kind of sometimes work together in the same way Cardano is going to be working with Polkadot in the interoperability world to make sure they also boost the Solanas and Ethereums of the world. So what do you want to do with cryptocurrency? That's the big question. There's not only one thing to do with blockchain technology. If your priority is quickness and fun and ease of coding, because you're not a very good coder and you want to build on it, go to Solana. I mean, honestly, that's the best reason to go to Solana. If you want to be fast and you want it to be easy to build on, go to Solana. That's what they're thriving at. If you're okay with high fees to keep out poorer people and to build more sophisticated programs, go to Ethereum. It's not going to be decentralized. I know some people are saying it's centralized. It's decentralized. It's more decentralized than the US dollar. Yes. There's other coins out there that are it's more decentralized than Solana. But decentralization is not the priority with Ethereum. Getting the things pounded through expensively, that's how you're going to get it done. But if you prioritize decentralization and if you prioritize security, then you're going to Cardano. So if that's what you're looking for, there's no better answer than Cardano. Watch the world that cares about that, the people that care about, the institutions that care about it. They will go the route of Cardano because it's very different than Solana or Ethereum.
I love it, Tim. Well, if you're looking for a tax solution, go and check out Decrypted.tax. They are our trusted tax partners. That's Decrypted.tax, and that's who we know, like, and trust. Now, when it comes to the factoid of the day, Tim, this is it. On October 22nd, 2022, in the year of our Lord, Rhode Island versus Monmouth football game went into how many overtimes?
Oh my gosh. We were at the game. So the elf is reminding us of a little bit of our own history as we get into the conversation about the greatest Warrens. My brother Caleb Warren, the greatest tight end in Rhode Island history,
oh yeah, he's
played in this game.
Yep.
And Can you, while I'm doing this, find a picture of him so we can show one of the greatest warrants?
Tim, I'll do you one better. I have here my original ticket to that Monmouth game.
It's not a picture of Caleb Warren.
This is way better than that. This is the ticket that I used to get into that game that we went to together, Tim.
Should have used an NFT on Houdini Swap, honestly, is what they should have done. All right. Go back to it. We're at the game, but it was a lot of overtimes. It was a whole heck of a lot of overtimes. What were my options?
Your options were A, 4 overtimes, B, 6 overtimes, 7, or 9.
All right. So 9 is the record. They didn't hit 9. I'm really tempted to say 7. It was a lot of overtimes. It got into the 2-point conversions, but I think that starts in the 4th overtime.
Come on, Tim.
Crap.
Dragging your feet. I think this factoid of the day is going into overtime.
Yeah, let's go 6 overtimes. It was a lot. It was more than 4.
Was it 6? It was not 6, Tim.
Darn it.
Hawks dropped 7 overtime thriller to number 19, URI, University of Rhode Island, where your brother played. There's a sick image of what the day looked like. It was a sunny day, beautiful day out. And yours truly, and one of our friends, Shannon, who's still with us, doing all kinds of cool stuff. We had a lot of fun that day. And I said, I brought my show and tell ticket. I've been packing to move, Tim, and this was something I came across, and it's really, really cool. Now, if you want to see a good looking Warren, I've got an image of him right here. It was really zoomed in.
That is him. Yeah.
The only one I could find.
It's a very zoomed in. If you go to my screen, there's a couple here. Pay no attention to the offensive lineman from Ole Miss. That's an inferior Caleb Warren. Here's the tight end right here, number 82, coming in. Look at that ball. This is just, they put 2 pictures side by side. That's not the same.
Does he have an anchor in his hand? Is that the Rhode Island?
Yeah, they have. I mean, they're on the ocean, so they have that stuff. Here's him lined up on the sideline. He's one of the greatest Warrens, definitely.
There he is.
Like,
he's got the interview.
Yeah, he looks very confused by whatever the question was. Maybe they asked him about. They asked him
to describe like an intelligent individual in this picture.
They probably were asking him to explain Solana's decentralization is what they were asking.
I knew you were going to say exactly that. That's so
all right. Other best Warrens in the world, and we're going somewhere with this, people. So stay with us.
Oh, are we? Okay.
We're going somewhere with this. There's some other great Warrens. Joseph Warren is a great Warren. Warren G. Harding, a great Warren. I actually don't know that much about his presidency. I don't know if he was a great one or not. Ed and Lorraine Warren. Anyone a fan of the movies Conjuring, based on the stories of Ed and Lorraine Warren? You definitely have someone said in chat. You got Warren Sapp.
Yep.
Come on now. Warren Sapp, one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time. Go Bucks. It's just Elizabeth Warren, the greatest. We'll move on.
The greatest just in general.
But you know who is maybe one of the greatest investors of all time, taking into their consideration not just recent investing, but all-time investing?
I did hit the wrong button on that one.
Yeah, you hit the wrong one there. There, do it again. There we go.
Warren Buffett. What a payoff.
Warren Buffett. Look at this, guys. Now, Warren Buffett, love him or hate him, he has an idea, T-Shroom. He has an idea that is a phenomenal idea. And we were just joking there for like last 5 minutes. This is actually serious. I love it. What is his idea, T-Shroom, that should fix all of the problems worldwide? At least here in the United States, but worldwide as well.
He wants to get rid of all Warrens. Just kidding. Billionaire Warren Buffett says he could end the United States deficit problem in 5 minutes. Just in 5 minutes, he can solve one of the biggest problems in the history of humanity and governments. This is his solution. You just have to pass a law that says anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. Yeah. Tim, what do you think about that idea?
It's a great idea. It's the concept of, like, if you're on a board at a business, if you're responsible to make key decisions and you have a profit margin, you're going to do everything that you can to get that profit margin, because if you don't, you'll lose your job. Effectively, Who decides the budget of the United States? Congress. They get to decide what we spend money on and what we don't spend money on. Now, what's stupid is they also get to decide the tax thing. So that's, we should definitely have some constitutional reviews of what's taxable and what's not taxable. But ultimately, if we know how much money we have in taxpayer money, how much money we have to spend, and they get told, hey, you're the ones who decide how we spend this money, do it responsibly, or your time in office is over, I think that it would incentivize a lot of great decision making for the United States. That's my, here we go. National debt. This business is in the tanker for certain, and this is a government.
Yep.
almost 35 trillion. Goodness gracious. Pretty soon, they're going to have to like quadruple taxes just because normal taxes right now will only pay off the what's it called? Why am I blanking on the word? Interest rates. Yeah, the interest on our debt is going to be ridiculous. Shout out before we move on. We're going to close out the show.
Just a quick note on that. The interest payments on the federal debt is now high. Yeah. This happened in February. Is higher than our defense budget annually.
Yeah,
let that sink in.
We forgot a very famous Warren. I don't want to leave him out. Warren Moon, everybody. Go to my screen here. Warren Moon, the Houston Oilers quarterback. He was a legend as well. Didn't want to leave him out. There's lots of other Warrens, but we wanted to cover some of the top Warrens. It's been a fun show. Let us know in the comments what your favorite part of the show was.
That's right.
I want to give a special shout out to Stupid Thing, our #1 viewer. He watches everything we put out. He's always here to give a helping thought, some constructive criticism so the show gets better. So shout out to you, Stupid Thing. That's his name. I'm not being insulting. That's what he called himself. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Before we go, and I know T-Shirt going to be able to pull it up, want to remind everybody, because we got cut off by the internet yesterday, I want to remind you guys this week, as much as we love crypto, as much as we love talking about all the respective news, we also are here at the channel. We love to give back. We want to be a part of change in the world. I believe that we have been blessed. I know I have been blessed in the crypto community and blessed with wealth, been blessed with people. But I believe heavily that the more you're blessed, the more you have the ability to bless other people. And so this week, for the next couple of days, we actually only have 2 more days here. We had a trading challenge for you guys to take all of your profits from your trading to give to an organization called Life for the Innocent, an organization working in South Asia to save the lives of millions of children in sex and organ trafficking. You can be a part of helping them. With just $1,400, you can save the life of one child. Not a single penny goes to me or T Shroom. Not a single penny goes to many people. In fact, we had lots of meetings with the organization. The entire organization, with the exception of maybe a couple of people, is all a bunch of volunteers. So those of you who give to charity, give to ministries, sometimes you always have to wonder, how much of my giving actually goes to serving the cause? There are few ministries or charities I've ever worked with or heard of that a higher percentage goes to the actual cause. Check out, there's a link down below to find out more information. There's also information if you want to get tax credits on your donation. Make sure you give directly to their website. If you just want to give crypto, there are some Tether links that you can, and USDC and USDT you can give, and we'll give on your behalf, but there's no tax break there. So maybe you, if your tax break is important to you, make sure to go to that link. But I want to remind you guys, 2 more days in the challenge. Please, please, please do not gloss over this, not just skip this in the end. Please consider how you can be a part of solving the problems here in the world with the blessings that you get during this crypto bull market. With that said, T-Shirt, anything else I'm missing before we close it out?
Yeah, I mean, this is we didn't just pull this charity off some random website, that recommends charities. Like I've had a relationship since I was in middle school, right? So for almost 2 decades now, I've been donating to Life for the Innocent. I've spoken with all of their chief officers and directors over there, and they're a good group of people who do a very, very difficult but important job. Right. If you don't know, like, and trust the Investing Bros, maybe you're watching for the first time, don't feel bad about not giving. Right. But if you've been coming back for a while and you've even been making money off of, some of the education that we provide, hey, this is a great way to give back. Don't feel any pressure. Don't feel any guilt if you're just not in a situation where you can take action here. But, if you are in abundance, we definitely encourage you to go ahead and make that donation. First link in the description.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, on your way out, that's all we have for you today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We will discuss all the details that plague us tomorrow. But on your way out, smash the like button, hit subscribe. And with that said, adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.